Start live video, and then we are live on. Okay, so we are live on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. So we'll see. I already have some questions, so I will start with those questions, and once more people join in, then maybe you guys can ask the questions that you might have. So we'll just maybe wait for 2 minutes for everyone to join in. So right now we are live at, yes, hello, we are live at Instagram and on Facebook and at YouTube at the same time. Yes, hello. I can see a lot of people joining in through Instagram, some from Facebook and some from YouTube. So I have already a list of questions. Some of you guys already sent these questions. I hope you guys can hear my core. Thanks a lot. Because we are for the first time on all three platforms. We thought like let's explore on all three. So let's start with a fun question like what is your favorite animated movie or animated game? Because some send questions about the movie, some send questions about the game. So let's have like this fun intro. So we'll also know like more people are interested into games or more people are interested into animated movies. So you guys can just post in the comment which one is your favorite one. Just post which one is your favorite one. Animated movie can be like Tangled, this Tangled, Frozen, Ice Age, lot of options, right? Yes. Hello. Yeah. So let's start with this thing. Video is getting stuck often. Video is getting stuck. They are saying. Is it fine for others, or is it like your internet connection or ours? Can learn After Effects and Premiere Pro in your institute. After Effects is fine. Okay. So I hope all three platforms are fine now. Yes, we'll answer software questions. God of War is best. Nice. Have you tried Aryan? Have you have played Last of Us? Have played or at least watch a video of Last of Us, the recent one that they launched? Okay, nice. Some of you have bit of internet lag on YouTube. Okay. I suppose others are fine. I'll just turn on the comment section off. Okay. Yes. So buffering, some buffering problem on Instagram. Okay. But anyways, let's start. So any of you have played Last of Us, or problem is more so on laptop, seems smoother on mobile phone. Okay, fine. So maybe Instagram is for mobiles only. So yeah, I mean you can switch into laptop. Of course, but the plot of Last of Us is messed up. Yeah, but let's see about the acting and all, right? I mean, the good thing I feel in Last of Us is they are making it very real, very relatable to people, like especially what we do in the movies is like because movies we cannot control. There's a big difference. Someone asked this question, so let's start with Q&A round, and let's start with this question first. What is the difference between working for a movie studio, TV projects, web projects, and games? So let's answer this thing, because once you guys become animators, once you guys learn animation, and then this thing, so you have multiple directions to go in, right? Some can join some big studios, some of you can join like some more of startups, maybe a journalist kind of thing. Maybe you guys can do more of very specific, like a 3D animator. So you would be just be animator, or be modeling artist, texturing artist, right? And then there are different projects. There's like some of you like more of games, some of you like more of movies, some of you like more of web series, and all these, right? Everyone has their own preference. Some of you might be binge watching on Netflix during these times, right? Like some of the web series and this and that, like Netflix has, HBO has a lot of series. So there also you can see animation is there, VFX is there, games are there, so many options are there. I am pretty sure every one of you would be addicted to some or other, either binge watching movies or playing some games. So which one you guys are doing, games or movies? Who wants to answer? Motion tracking. Yeah, motion tracking, we'll talk about that also. Mocap and all also we'll talk about. Lot of industries that use. So what do you guys do, what you guys do like during lockdown? Obviously, which one you like? Both. Okay, nice. Yeah. Games also, movies also, everything, right? Everything you can. So this is a chance where you can learn a little bit about back behind the scene of that games. Okay, okay. Jamir said games, addicted to editing all the day. Very nice. So you are actually working. I hope like editing means like maybe post production of animation or maybe like vlogging or something. VFX. Okay, fine, fine, fine. VFX and all. Nice, nice. You guys are like utilizing all the time. So if you guys have any games online, multiplayer and stuff, yes, that's obviously that's. But any of you have wondered like so let's switch to this thing. Are you guys animators or are you guys new to this thing and are you guys just interesting learning VFX? Okay. What about others? Are you guys into animation? Are you guys learning animation or are you guys interested in game design? Very nice, very nice. So at AIT we have gaming and animation. It's like all from start to end. It's gaming and animation, which means like animation is not just animation, right? It's I hope you guys understand. It's a like lot of different process. Like pre-production, be more of planning, like what to show into animation. Okay, fine. So you are what is that? Arts by Rahul. Okay, arts by Rahul. Nice, nice animation. So are you an animator in a studio or working on freelance or learning animation? Three things can be there, right? And we'll keep it more interactive, so just don't like just sit and like we'll see like yes, I already joined BVA multimedia and design. Very nice. Okay, so you'll be okay. So let's go with this thing. What are the possibilities, like if you learn animation, what you can do? And also at the same time, let's talk about the differences between games and this thing. See, the games, anyone can tell like what is the big difference between a game or a movie? Like if you are playing a game or watching a movie, what is the big difference? Just in one word or in one line. We are anyone from Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Anyone of you? We have some on YouTube also. Some on. You guys can just type in the comment box below, and then we'll just. What is a big difference? New in the 3D world, trying to rig my first character. Very nice, very nice. At least you have an idea of what rigging is. But we'll talk about this thing. So we'll keep it going until you guys are excited and interested, and we'll answer all the questions that you guys have. Games are not predictable. Movies are also not predictable, right? Like if you see Game of Thrones, it's a TV series, but like who predicted, right? Like all they'll give power to one person, that person dies. Any of you actually predicted that? Game में भी story है, movie में भी है. Yes, story is there in both. Yes, game is depend on uh, okay, yeah, I feel more of part is the universe where I'm playing games. Yes, but universe is in movie also. So, anyways, I'll just share this thing. See, games you guys can control, right? And movies you guys cannot control. Movies is just you are sitting, you go there, you buy your popcorn, you sit, you pay this thing, and then you go, and then just oh, okay, whatever they show you, right? If you don't like the movie, what do you do? Walk out, or you feel like you have paid like too much, and then you sit there, and then you just continue watching, right? Cursing like why like my friends bought me for this movie. I've had that experience. I hope some of you might be able to relate, right? I was thinking in terms of technical terms, like we need create multiple animation and all. Yes, that is there are a lot of similarities. So we'll cover on that cycles. See, cycles are there in games also and in movies also and TV series also. Because whenever a project is starting, then we need to create some cycles for movies also. Some people think like everything we need to do from scratch, but if let's say like let's take an example of Tangled, right? If the main character Flynn Rider, any of you have watched Tangled? But people felt the same for Last of Us too. Yes, Last of Us had a lot of acting and story into that. Earlier games didn't have that. So we'll talk about evolution also, like how initially Contra and Tekken and Super Mario, those games were there where there was no like much story. It's like okay, Mario is going to rescue the princess, like that is the plot line. It's not like Mario is getting emotional, or it won't be like Mario jumps and then he hurts his head and then he's just oh like oh no what like brick I broke and I'm stupid. It was not there. But Last of Us, if you see the second version, there's a lot of acting, lot of this thing. If you see like they're going on that path, right? So they're like slipping, the leg slips and oh no like I'm like, so it's a emotional. So other person also react like this person should not die, right? There was one of my mentor was there from Disney. He was working on some projects in Disney and he mentioned this thing. For a real life, it is you will get lot of applause when you perfectly execute a action, right? Like if some of you, I'm a student and I love doing animation, but I don't know rigging. Okay, we'll talk about different departments also. That I have already have covered. I have like all these questions, so we'll talk about this thing. Perspective view. Okay, yes, 3D view. That is also a difference. So I had this mentor, and then he said he used to say this thing that in real life, if you do a action which with a perfection, like if someone is doing like triple flip, so people will clap if that person is doing it perfectly, right? How perfectly you can execute that. But in a movie or in a game, if same thing is there, but when you add an imperfection to that, like a touch of where like a character, right? This is a character in a 3D space, but you do not feel that it might fall or it might hurt itself. When audience see that, okay, this character might fall or this thing, right? When that's like, how, like, then we all of a sudden get into that thing, right? Oh, this is not a movie that I am watching. Then you get involved into that, right? So that is a big difference in like real life versus this thing. And then there is a difference. So games versus movies versus TV series versus web series. Now a lot of opportunities are there. Some of us don't realize. We like started with the Tom and Jerry and all that, like Cartoon Network. I remember like my young days, like when I was coming home and then throwing the bag and Tom and Jerry and all this. And any of you have played, I mean, watched Tom and Jerry or any of the, what were your like favorite childhood shows? Uh, some young audience also we have, so don't, not saying everyone is, I mean, some of you are already child. Some of you consider yourself, right? Like from heart, you are a kid. Which one is your? Who wants to go first? Who wants to say like which one was your favorite? When you used to come back from home and like throw bag and all that. Like which one was your favorite? Can you say parts in animation? Yes, yes. Departments, different departments will be covering different departments, different procedure from start to end. We'll be covering that. All Cartoon Network shows. What name first? Nishit Shetty. Nishit Shetty 9. Instagram handle. Tom and Jerry. Okay. Random idiot 143. Okay. So unique username. Tom and Jerry. Okay. Marvel. Okay. Nice, nice. Pokemon. Yeah. Pokemon. Shinchan. Shinchan is more recent one. Benton. Benton also more recent one. But earlier days, I worked on these projects also. Anyone? Some Indian projects, some outside projects, lot of freelance projects, lot of outsourcing projects, lot of projects I worked on. But Indian IP project, the Chota Beam, you guys have seen. I worked on the 3D version of that, which is Super Beam. The difference is the beam can fly, and then he has like all his friends. And so I worked on a lot of episodes of that. It is on Netflix also, series also. That was Indian, and then a lot of other projects also in this thing. So lot of cool projects worked on, and then I've been Courage the Comedy Show. Nice man, nice, nice, nice. It was nice, right? Like it has unique touch, and you get addicted to all those shows. Doraemon, okay, Doraemon is like kind of a recent one comparatively, but fine. Pokemon. Ken Bharani says Pokemon on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Okay, YouTube, we have some people watching, and we are on Facebook and Instagram also. Yes. Okay, let's start with that movie is there on Netflix. Which movie? Which movie are you talking about? Can you mention that movie? So yeah, so that is the difference. Once you Chota Bheem might Raju Mighty Little Bheem on Netflix is looking good. Yes, yes, Chota Bheem and then Super Bheem 3D version, 2D version. There's two different. We'll also answer the questions difference between 2D and 3D. Super Bheem. Yes, it's a TV series. Yeah, they made a movie also, TV series also. We worked on TV series, a lot of episodes, and it's like initially like we switch between like languages, like some projects, because if something is coming from US and other countries, mostly it was in English. We worked on one Chinese project which was very tough to work because it was like Chinese. None of us knew like Mandarin and all this, right? So just we have to catch the words and we have to break it down to vowels, and I mean, what can we do, right? Just those a lot of fun things. How much time does it take for you to render these films? Rendering takes a lot of time. There are different process. Let's go and lead towards that question. The initial thing is see, pre-production, production, post-production. So in very simple terms, making of animated movie or a game or this thing has three passes: pre-production, production, post-production. Pre-production, yeah, welcome to all, like on Facebook and yeah, Instagram, and you render in which software. We'll talk about all that. So let me cover like pre-production, production, and post-production. Pre-production is more of the story and this, and you see, you guys cannot, I mean, I hope you guys realize you can just cannot just sit together and just let's make a movie, right? You need a plan, you need a story, you need like who would be the character. And if you see 3ds Max, yeah, Max is there, Maya is there. Maya is more popular than Max now, and then Blender is also there. And worked in Green Gold. Yes, Green Gold projects, exactly. Green Gold projects, we worked on Green Gold projects also. And yeah, so what is talking about? Yeah, so different softwares is also there, but pre-production, production, and post-production. So pre-production is more of coming up with the idea, generating the idea, and yeah, Nuke is also there. There are a lot of softwares, but we'll come back to the software part also. And so there's a pre-production. That means like you come up with you sit with a friend, you come up with a, okay, what story you need. If you see How to Train Your Dragon, right? Anyone has seen How to Train Your Dragon? If you have seen, just type one. If you have seen like How to Train Your Dragon movie, yes, okay. Some of you have seen, okay. YouTube, what do you guys say? YouTube, Facebook. You guys have seen or not? Okay, okay. Nice. Some of you have seen. So how did it start, right? They started with like, okay, it's not like, okay, you like you X, you just make some nice. Okay, Dave stop. I hope I am pronouncing it right on YouTube. Says is seen. Okay, fine. So it does not start with like let's take some names from Instagram. It's Ajay 11, right view design. I will within. So three of you, right? If three of you are working, it's not like if I'm directing, oh, you animate this dragon, you animate this kid. It does not start in middle, right? It starts from the start. What will happen? It's a father and son relationship. There is a dragon land. There are dragons, and all these things are there, right? So who plan all this thing? And they send all those people to cool locations also. Not everyone, but the pre-production, the supervisors, and all those, right? So that's a super fun part of being in a animation industry. That's a fun additional part of this thing. Uh, I'm not able to see the comments on this thing. I guess I have to see the Facebook, or maybe. Anyways, we'll continue. So pre-production, all the story and all the script and all this thing. You are deciding on what to do. All this, then like it leads to production. When every story is finalized, you make models like characters in the 3D view. Then you rig it. Then you animate. Animators move like the hand and head and all that, right? They create a performance like walk cycle, run cycle, and all those things. Then there comes some of you are talking about rendering, and this thing is comments. Okay. So fine. So that thing, right? So I hope you guys can understand that like there's a process of pre-production, production, and then post-production. So finally the movie is made and then it's released. Then it's like more of like who will release and what rights, who has, and all the countries, what all countries, what date it has to be released, and all those kind of things, right? That thing is there. So shoot another question. Like someone asks some question, or I'll take from list. So we'll do one thing. I'll take one from list, one from you guys. We'll do that way. Or if you guys don't have question, we'll just continue with the list questions. Or YouTube, yeah. You guys have any questions, or we'll take from all three platforms. And storytelling important? Yes, storytelling. It's a good question. Storytelling is a big part because we see like it's an animation, right? So sometimes we see like it's just movement, right? Animation के बाद simulation होता है. Yes, simulation and all is more of like after animation, because simulation like it can you can talk about like Tangled. She had like huge long hairs, right? And some have like this thing. Dynamics is there, simulation is there, all those things are there. Yes, rendering is also in post production. So when you have to render a image, and it takes like render farms it takes now to answer the rendering question, it takes render farms. So a lot of studios, what they can do is they can outsource all that process also, because they need like huge servers to do all that, right? So in-house, like it's very tough because the budget is very high. Is perspective drawing helps in animation or game design? Not directly, but initially, if you are doing more of like, because if you are talking about 3D, then not that much. But if you're talking about 2D, then yes, because in 2D, everything is in sketching and this thing. So the background you'll be making would be in 2D. Like if you guys know Tom and Jerry, right? So Tom and Jerry is 2D. So background pans and this thing. So you have to sketch the backgrounds, you have to sketch the characters, and then you have to do it again. And then it's not like all the things that you see is like this thing. There are a lot of repeat animations also, so that is also there. So will not knowing programming affect me if I want to be an artist? No, no, not at all. Games, see, games, if you games are two parts. Movie is just a visual thing where you can see, but games have two part. Games have a coding part where you integrate all that with that, and there is a visual part. So if you do not know programming, it would not affect you at all. If you are going for the visual part, where if you see like Tekken, you see, right, like you see a lot of visual, but at the same time for playing you need a joystick or you need that command, right? So programming means connecting the animation that we are giving to those commands, so that when you move the joystick and when you press these keys, it will respond in that way, right? So that thing is, I hope it makes sense, right? Nishit Shetty 9 Instagram handle. Hope that makes sense. So I'll take one question from here. Then another one person said like they have seen lot of movies and games, but they've been wondering like who actually makes, and like is it like separate people? And I used to wonder the same thing. So let's take this question, then I'll take one from you guys, right? Either YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. We'll take like one question then from you guys, and let me answer this thing. When I was kid, right, like I didn't care about like who's working, and I felt like okay, like these people exist in some other country someplace, right? So I am just concerned about watching Tom and Jerry, because I'm just like I am having fun, that's enough, right? So it's just, I hope you guys can relate. But then I realized, I researched more, and then I realized, and I'll talk about myself also about towards that. And so I realized this thing, that there is this animation thing which you can learn, and you can actually animate, and you can make a career out of that, and you can work on cool projects while also sharing your story. And I feel animation is the coolest, one of the really cool career choice that you guys can make. Because if you see, I'm not saying like others are not important, coding, everything is important, but if you guys actually see and ask your friends like what you have created, right? You have like friends in other industries and this thing working, you ask them like end of the day what you created, they'll be like what creative is just working in the office, right? But if they ask you, okay, what you created, and you're like, oh, see this cool thing. Even when you do a walk cycle, right, it feels so cool because you created, and then you can make like more up and down, and it would be very like fun, right? It's just okay, this personality is coming, then a girl walk, a guy walk, a heavy guy walk, and then a thin guy walk, all these, right? And you can give like a lot of personality to them. So that is a fun thing that I, it's a little bit off tangent. But yes, so who makes cartoon shows, games, and all this thing? And there is one more, is really good drawing skills necessary needed for being a good animator? Is every skill also acceptable? Drawing skills, that's a question from YouTube. Let me answer that also. Uh, yeah, drawing skills help, I would say, because a lot of time, even if you are doing in 3D, right, you need to do like small thumbnails to plan out, like I said, like because if you are assigned a shot, right, and then what you have to do, you cannot just directly jump into 3D. I mean, you can do that, but I'm poor in drawing, so can I join? Yes, why not? I'm just saying like it helps. I'm not saying it is a must, it is not an absolute must. But sometime if you draw like small this thing, right, I'll just show you guys. Like if you just draw, like everyone can draw, I suppose. I'll just show this thing. Basic, like a head is there, this thing is there. It's a very very rough this thing. I hope you guys can see a basic, right, like this thing. A basic, like head is there, this thing is there, ball is there, this thing is there, so it's just to depict like what your character is doing. If you are running, just make like legs like this. You should be able to understand where the story is going, right? For that purpose it is required. But it is required for thumbnails, and this thing. When is the college reopening? As everyone knows, due to corona, I mean, it's but as university guidelines, you have to follow that part. So that is there. And whoever is already part of AID, Asian Institute of Design, obviously you are getting the mails and all the updates regarding that. But yeah, so I hope that answers the drawing part to you guys, right? It's always important to understand basic things, but it's not, I mean, you can directly learn 3D and the software and all this thing, and you can directly play around with the rig and animate. You guys can do that also. But sometimes it's just basic rough, like scratches, right? Like scribbles. It really helps sometimes just to plan out the shot better, like, especially if it's a cartoony shot. It saves time. That's the thing. So any of you have any other question? I'll take one from here. Then we'll switch back. So just think about the questions that you guys might want to ask, And drawing poses and expression, even basic one helps a lot. Yes, yes, exactly. I am 20 currently. Is it late to choose gaming? No, not at all. I've seen people at 40 making a transition. It's not at all. Gaming, see, gaming and animation is not like a usual thing where you are like after a college and then only you have to do that, right? I mean, in its age is not a foundation in that. I've seen a lot of people and lot of people were there along with me who did their engineering. We like we have a pattern, right? Like we are like you become engineer first and then figure out what you want to do. So they did their engineering, they learned the animation, they joined they applied for the job, they got into this thing, and now they're animators. So they have this certainty where parents say, right, like become engineer first. So that is also fine. So some of you might be already into engineering. So once you are done with engineering, you guys just check back and see like if you are interested into animation, or some of you might be just directly to be into this thing, right? 3D animation drawing is help to understand the pose. I'm 20 currently. 20 is very young, man. Not like no, nothing is old. Even 30 is young. It's just because you just have to have. But see, it's not easy. It's. I mean, you have to work, right? You have to learn the skill and then you have to work in that. And it's not as my the software of animation, but in the industry there will be a another software. No, industry mostly. If you see Indian industry and a lot of this thing, they use Maya only. Maya as a standard they use. Some very rarely somewhere Blender might be used because of the Blender is free and they don't have to have license and all the problems it solves. And then if you go for a bigger studios like DreamWorks, Disney, Pixar, or these things, they have their own software which is very similar to Maya, and its interface is very same, right? And we are talking about 3D here, so interface is very similar, but they have their own software because in-house, because so that like it's piracy and all those things, right? So it just they want to avoid all that, so they have their own inbuilt softwares and inbuilt system and production pipeline and all that is there. So that answers that question. Any branch in India, Mumbai? No, the college is in Bangalore, and but online also is there. Online options are there, so you guys can check with JP. The mails you are getting from the ID, right? You can just link back to that, and you guys can give a call and all that information, whatever you need. A lot of online now because of Corona. Like it's a actually good thing also. I wanna say we are small engineer. What does that mean? Okay, I suppose you are doing engineering or something. Chennai, all over India, and this thing because online is also starting. So online actually is going on. So you guys, it's open for all. Earlier it was a foundation where you have to come to Bangalore to learn this thing, but there is a lot of bad things that happened due to COVID, but there's a lot of good opportunities that opened up, which is like you guys would be able to continue this thing or upgrade your skill. We're even thinking of launching small programs and all this. You can see the previous webinars. There will be more webinars like this. This is the first time where we are going like live on different platforms, but you guys can. There are like more webinars like this. Some are like webinar Zoom webinars and this thing. This is the live sessions. We are more of like Q&A and answering, touching on different topics over here. Okay, we have a question from YouTube. One second. Hello, I have some basic animation skills in Maya. How can I move forward from here? Is doing a course on animation is the best route? No, I don't feel. Why? I'll answer this thing. I'm in ninth, so can I join AID? Ninth and AID, I would say for now you should focus on finishing your schooling, but in side by side. But once you finish, you can join. I mean, there's no like this restrictions because online small 1 week program, 1 month program, those programs you can enroll on because there you don't need that much of commitments and scope will answer that scope. That question is already there. Let's answer basic animation skill, this thing, and importance of institutes. Let's answer that thing, why institute is important, how it can help you. You guys can do like a project on your own home also, which everyone should actually do because it's a very good time for the animation. A lot of scope. We'll cover this thing. Let's answer this question. If you have knowledge, basic knowledge of animation, just answering a YouTube question. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, all three. So I'm just answering your question. What's your name? Muki98 YouTube channel. Okay. So see, like if you have basic knowledge about this thing, animation and this thing, it's not necessary to join an institute or this thing. But how an institute can help you is like if you have knowledge, and some of people actually feel that. there are free resources and download here, there, search on YouTube, search on internet, you'll go to blogs, you'll go to this and that, right? And then you might be able to learn. Yes, you might be able to learn. There are a lot of good resources out there, but the issue is it will take you longer. It might take you 5 years, it might take you 6 years to learn all that, which you can actually learn one on one, right? I mean, if you guys stay here for a couple more minutes, like 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, right? You'll learn a lot of inside things that you might not be able to find like at one place, right? At one place. So if you join an institute or this thing, whatever institute, just research properly what institute is this. What is the experience of the faculty? Are they open in learning? Are they open in teaching? Would they, can they relate to you guys and all this, right? So you just check out every issue, you have like put out all this content and all, right? Just check out what is comfortable for you. But AID is offering now online things also, so you guys can, there's no necessity to come to Bangalore in middle of Corona, right? Nobody expect anyone to take that kind of drastic decision, so that is not necessary. And let me answer this thing: basic animation knowledge. So you can actually research on your own. If you have a basic knowledge, you can research on your own. A lot of resources are there, such 3D animation, animation studio animation, learning animation, via animation, all this you search on that. Or but if you feel that you don't want to spend all that unnecessary time in like one studio, one source, one YouTube you subscribe to. I remember when I was learning, right, before like joining an institute, I'll talk about my learning curve also, like being coached with a lot of cool mentors and this thing in my time. So I used to have like hundreds of tabs open, right? Like it's just all Google Chrome, small, 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 small. And then end of the day, I had like this plugin, bookmark all. Well, I don't want to lose, right? I don't want to lose on this thing that what, because I opened some cool website and I said 7 ways to be animator, this and that, right? I want to keep that, I want to keep that 100, and then I like bookmark all. Then I'll close. You have to sleep and all, right? Or like put on a hibernation and this thing. I'll open again. Same, right? Same next because you lead here and there. But if you join an institute, that thing is anyone can relate to that. Anyone has like 100 tabs open in there, this thing while researching on something. You can just type one, like if you guys have faced a similar situation where you have like a lot of tabs open, you are learning something, researching, and then one thing leads to another, then you are watching some online memes and you are like on some prank videos and something, right? Like it's just yeah, some of you. Okay, fine, fine, fine. Animation has a lot of scope. We'll come back to that scope part, and all these things are also. So let's take some questions. Let's take some questions. Basic knowledge we have answered. Let's take one from Facebook now. Is it necessary to get a degree in animation to go abroad? Yes, it is. That is actually you have answered your own question, because usually we get question, is it necessary to get a degree or a diploma or this thing, right? But you have answered your question, man. Like Pravi VJ. Okay, so you have, yeah, it's a necessary thing, because there is a difference between a degree and a diploma. A lot of people ask this thing in a question way, like what is difference between degree and diploma? We want to do diploma, we want to do degree and this thing. But if you like, see, if you think of long term, and if you actually really are committed to be a animator, right, and you really are interested into games and movies, and you want to make this as your career, so it is better to see like the long term, because if you get a diploma in this thing, then there are some restrictions, because why would someone hire you as this thing, right? Because they need like some credentials to be like, they'll match that with their own this thing. So if it's like a 3 year or 4 year or this thing, then that is like equivalent to this thing, because diplomas would be like 1 year, right, maximum 1.5 years. So for that reason, degree is a must. And here you have to do your this thing. But if you want to go abroad and as an animator and work on some of this thing, then you have to do that. Is a connection unstable in YouTube? Yes, it's back. Okay. So yeah, let's take some questions from YouTube. I'm a new admission at AID, joining in a course of multimedia and animation, but my pathway is to game designing. Am I in the right place? Course? Yes. For a degree and a diploma program, I'll answer this thing. You are, as you mentioned, like you are joining a course for multimedia and animation. I suppose that is like the degree one. If you are in a degree one, there's a, you learn modeling, texturing, you learn animation, you learn a little bit of post production. So it's a degree is like a combination of all these things. whereas the diploma is like straight path towards, like if you choose animation, if you choose game programming, if you choose game design, it's a straight path towards that, right, in a shortest amount of this thing. So if you are interested in if you are more of like learning everything here and there, and you want to understand the industry as a whole, and figure out for yourself like what you want to go for, then that's a degree is the route for you. If it is more of like you want to be focused and you don't have much time, you've done your engineering, you have done some course before, and you just want to jump into this thing, and or you have already done course animation course from some other institute, or you have searched researched on your own, you have created some cool animations, and you have found that animation is the 3D animation is the route for you, diploma is for you, then you don't need to like jump here and there, right? Multiple tabs, yeah. And okay, so let's take some question from Instagram that rotoscoping में भी दिक्कत होती है as well. कौन सा software better है? Rotoscoping, yes, rotoscoping also. All these softwares are there. It's Ajay. Like, are you are working for some studio or something like in rotoscoping? Rotoscoping is basically like there are some things, right? There's a mocap, there is a rotoscoping, there is a actual hand key animation, they call it. Degree in animation only, or any other bachelor degree is okay for going abroad for animation job. Animation job, it's a good question, but an animator, see, if you target for blue sky, right? If you want to go to blue sky, so we asked this question to this. We had a session with some blue sky recruiters were coming for one session. So we asked when I was studying, we asked the similar question, like what would it take to go out and like work. So they said, like, see, first of all, you have to prove yourself through your showreel. Your showreel need to be really cool, right? Second thing, you if some connections are there, then it's fine. Third thing, you need like just money to go and just stay for a month and all this, right? So that thing is also there. And yes, so that thing is there. If you want to go to like some really big studio, then you have a degree in engineering and then you have done some animation. Either you prove that your animation is really cool and they are not able to find that great animator in their area, they'll definitely work hard to get you to that country, like all this process. They will put an efforts from their side because they would prefer you over other animators, right? Or if you are really passionate about the this thing, I mean, there's a but first thing, your showreel, your work should speak for itself. You cannot have a mediocre work in your showreel and apply for a blue sky or Disney or Pixar and then expect them to work for you to manage your visa to, because they can easily hire like, next door, right? Like California, they can just find some cool animators over there itself. Any prerequisite in knowledge we need to have for joining animation college? I can talk about AID as we are here, and I'm very well aware of this process. There is not much knowledge needed, but it's always recommended to have researched a little bit about the industry. Maybe watch a couple of animation movies, because we have had students who didn't had that much of relatable idea, right? They had like they just played some games and they just joined in. So it's always better like if you guys just watch couple of movies. I'll say like Ratatouille, Tangled, Ice Age. Watch three movies. If you have never watched an animated movie, watch three movies. Play three games, right? Games you guys everyone plays, right? GTA, this and a lot of like Last of Us, and you guys mentioned some games. Okay. So let's take actually sir, I'm confusing कि मैं 3D S Max पर ज़्यादा focus करूँ या Maya. Focus on the skill, not on the software. Max and Maya does not have much difference, but if you have to choose one, choose Maya. Maya is 80% more than Max. I mean, in industry, Maya is used all over the place. Some small studios and some were using Max earlier, especially for gaming and this. Now they have switched to Maya. Maya is there, and then some still use blenders just because they don't have to pay all the license and all. So it's a different point. Like come to that also later on, right? Difference between game designer and game artist. Gaming and a broad question, if we actually put it in a like more a broad way, what do you think about Japanese animation, anime, manga, and all that? Or you are talking about which one studio is there, right? My Neighbor Totoro, that Studio Ghibli, right? Studio Ghibli, maybe you are talking about that. So which one are you talking about? Let's answer that: game designer and game artist. So gaming, it's a broad thing you can categorize. Is it like a visual medium you are just doing for a thing that you cannot control, which is movies, TV series, web series, or you are doing, I mean, includes Netflix also now, Netflix, HBO, and all that, which will come under TV series or web series, whatever you want to call, or other is which you can control. So when you can control something, it has a slightly different pipeline. When you can, what you cannot control, it is slightly different pipeline. But being an animator, being a background artist, being a modeling artist, texturing artist, all this thing is same for both. So there are some similarities there. We'll also talk about. So yeah, Mayank 10. What do you mean about Japanese? You are talking about Studio Ghibli projects or Game of the, yes, yes, Grave of the Fireflies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What should be the mentality? So let's answer about Japanese versus more of like Western focus of animation, because most of us, we are like more influenced by Western, right? A lot of outsourcing is happening, and then Disney and Pixar and Blue Sky, all this, we watched all those things. Okay, so let's answer this thing. Japanese, what Studio Ghibli, what they do is they are like more of, in Japan, its animation is more ingrained, like our what Bollywood and Hollywood movies we watch, right? It's like a long movie, like 2 hours, 3 hours movie. You guys should check out My Neighbor Totoro. If you guys don't know, and if you are bored of all the Disney Pixar, all those movies, check out My Neighbor Totoro. That's a really cool movie, very different kind of movie. Check that out. So from Studio Ghibli, Japanese. So what they do is they keep it more like stories, like more family movies. So action will be happening. It's not like everything is condensed into 1 hour, 1.5 hour, right? And then they have to sell this. Like slow motion, slow pace. They'll put like some sound, which I feel Hollywood and I feel like even bigger studios are missing on that. They would play with the sound. So sound will take you into that zone, and then they'll have like a big intro. Then you are in, so you are lost in the Japan. That movie, especially Studio Ghibli, that's a lot of people call that is like the Disney of Japan. They have also a tie-up also. Yes, Studio Ghibli. I was asking about Studio Ghibli. Yes, exactly, because Japan, that's a very famous. Studio Ghibli is very famous. Because, and then they had like a release this tie-up also. They have done with them, like same as Marvel also they have done, right? Let's take one from YouTube. Then I'll answer some of you guys what you guys said. We'll take one from Instagram. We'll take from Facebook. Live on all three who are joining now. Like welcome to this thing. You can ask any of the questions. I'm doing BFA and diploma in animation. Doing BFA and diploma, both you are doing. Should I do master? No, 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 not required. Not required. Lot of people would say not required. If you have done a BFA and you have done a diploma, not required. How much you'll study, right? I mean, it's just, I would say, like, create some animations of your own. I hope from where you did animation and this thing, you had good faculties and they helped you with like making showreel and all this. I'm answering Radhika Goyal, and you have like a big number over there. So okay, so I'm answering that question, and then we'll take YouTube question, we'll take Facebook, and then we'll answer from the list also. Right. So it's not required. See, you do one degree, you do one diploma. It's up to you. You do a degree and a diploma is also not required. Degree is more of like if you want to learn everything and you want to eventually go outside or do like be more stable into industry. But in the end, it is what are you able to produce in your showreel. End of the day, you show your showreel. You go to a studio. We'll talk about in detail also what is the process of applying for a studio and all that. Right. We'll talk about all that also towards the end. So that is the answer to that. Degree and diploma you have already done. Why you want to do masters also just does not make sense. Just join a studio, and how to join a studio we'll talk about that also, right? So let's take one question from YouTube. Should we do diploma in India and go to a degree abroad for better chances for job, or degree here in India and specialized diploma abroad? I feel degree in India is better because you don't have to pay much. So that's kind of obvious thing, but yes, I mean that kind of questions come sometimes. That kind of question comes. I personally would say diploma degree both in India is better, because see, why INR, Indian currency, you want to go outside to learn the same thing that you can learn in India. You want to pay like 75. What is this? Like anyone knows like the that rate? 76, right? 76. Why you want to pay like this much and this and all that, right? So learn animation here, right? uh, so yeah, so learn animation and then apply, right? And then you can take freelance and you can do all that, right? Like if you want like outside project, you can go on that, but degree is needed for that thing. Okay, so that we have answered this, we have answered. We'll take, okay, we'll take one from Instagram, then we'll take one from the list. I'm 18, just joined AID BBA multimedia and design. Is it helps? Yes, you will realize. You will realize once you start, you'll realize how much it will help. And because we one thing see one thing is like good about this thing, because I feel I also, I mean, I'm a faculty. We just missed out on the, some of you missed out on the intro and all that. I'm a faculty at AID. I'll talk about a little bit about myself and all the experience in this thing, and a lot of cool projects and all this. Yes, it will definitely have. We have, for just for animation, we have three faculties. For modeling and texturing and this thing, we have three other faculties. Then we have a graphic design faculty. We have this thing. So usually institutes will have one faculty who would not be that experienced. I'm talking about in general, who would not be that experienced into the field, right? If you ask them questions, so that is always you guys should do research before joining a institute. That's a very obvious thing, but a lot of people miss out that on that. Ask them thousand questions, right? If they're able to answer, join it. If they're not able to answer, don't join. It's a it's a similar it's a it's a simple thing, right? It's a very simple, obvious, nobody does that, but it's a simple thing. So do that. Yes, AID, join AID, obviously. Like, you have three faculties and all three have like very vast experience on what we do. Like, sometimes is we mix and match, right? So in classes, sometimes we have two faculties in same class, so the students get both feedbacks. And then we have three faculties, so me and other faculty will be there. Sometimes they both will be there. So it's a mix and match, right? So you get like different experience. Some work on smaller studios, more of Indian projects. Some worked on outside projects. Some would be more Western influence. Some would be more Indian IP content. That thing is there. What is the route to becoming an animator? Like BG artist, concept artist, environment artist, character artist. That all what you mentioned, Ria Ghosh, is the route that is more of pre-production, right? So that comes under the pre-production. Then we have production and post-production. Route to becoming, that is to explore more, research more, and join a place which specialize in that. If you really have fixed your mind on you just want to be background artist and this thing, but I will put one my advice on that. India gets lot of outsourcing projects. What does outsourcing project mean? Someone also mentioned freelance and all, right? So I'm reading all the, we'll cover everything. We won't like let any question go by. So just, if your question is not answered, post again, because the feed just flows by and we are tracking on all three platforms. So outsourcing, what is outsourcing, what kind of project? Let's lead to that question through a basic intro of what kind of projects are there. There are in-house projects, which is like Indian IP content. Chota Beam is a very good example of that. Lot of this thing, right? Even Jungle Book series is, lot of this thing is done in India. And like a lot of IP, like Vaibhav Studio, Vaibhav Kumaresh is there. Some of you might be knowing, right? He's a very cool guy. If you check like Lampert series and all this, is a studio in Mumbai, Web of Studios. Some of you are from Mumbai itself, right? So check it out. Like, just reach out to him and see like what kind of series give you a tour and all. So that studio is there, but he works on lot of IP content, which is like a Indian content, right? And now that we are seeing a lot of this startup and all this Atmanirbhar and all this thing is coming, so it would get much easier to build your own stuff also. Like, if you like follow up on this thing, learn this thing, you can start up and all this also. A lot of government support and all this will also be there. So yes. So what else? Yeah, initial question. So see, what happens is pre-production. So since lot of projects come from outside, the pre-production demand is comparatively less than production demand. That is the truth of the industry, because a lot of people like, if a big movie is coming from outside, right? So what they do is they do all the story, they do all the character design, they do all the basic thing, they ship it to India, or like similar, if there's a similar like this thing, so they get, it's not like lot of thing comes. So when, if you get into specific of just being a character designer, yes, there's a competition, there's this thing, but I feel like 3D animator or a 3D modeling artist or game artist or these things or programming, or all these demands are little bit comparatively higher than that. Only if we actually talk about the outsourcing project. A lot of outsourcing projects, we have worked on a lot of projects of outsourcing, but that was the thing with that. It was like everything is planning, everything is done, they ship it, we start with the modeling, texturing, rigging, animation, post production, all this thing, we start with that. So I feel that is a little bit heavier. So my dream is to get job in international studios like Rockstar Games. So which institute should I enroll? Pizza Boy. Okay. So I would say same thing. I would say same thing. Which institute should you enroll in? You check out all institutes, and then you see like because everyone has this thing, right? And you see like what you really like, what type you really like, right? You see like everyone has their own content. You ask them questions, so you see that, you check the background, you see like who's more experienced and what would be, who would be able to guide you better to reach your goals, right? It can be like your goal can be international, some studios, some big studios, some small studios, some people are like more of like journalists. I just want to touch on everything. And we had one student, very interesting kind of student. He was like, I want to learn this, I want to learn all that, and he would like full day would sit here because we have labs and everything is there. So he would sit here extra, because see, it's up to you how much effort you guys are putting in. You'll get out that much out of it. So he used to sit extra hours, and there's like all these facilities are there, so you guys can enroll for all that also, right? So he used to sit and he used to be good in this subject, that subject, this subject. So then he created his own short film, right? Once you have your own short film, when others are just making a show reel, you are way higher. I mean, they'll really hire you, because then you have a understanding of all the different departments, right? So I hope that answers your question. And we are okay. So let's take some from we are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, and we are on Instagram also. So who wants to ask next? Anyone on any other platform? Okay, let's take some. Let me answer some question that I have. Then all of you who have pending questions, will take that also. If your question is not being answered, just ask again. But let me take some questions that were already sent beforehand. We already covered about basic of animation. We covered about like this past and present. We make cartoon game shows. We have covered this. What animators do. We have covered a little bit about production pipeline, pre-production, production, post-production. We have covered about all that. Then another thing is referrals. Someone sent a question through Instagram earlier, which was like referral. If someone had done a course, but now they were not able to get into the studio. So that's a very key question, because usually, and learn from this, who has not enrolled yet, learn from this thing, that if the faculties that are in the institute teaching you, do they have context? Is the institute helping with you, connecting you? Because a lot of courses will be there, but they are not directly connected to the industry. So if you join that and then you expect them to actually help you out, because first thing is, if you are learning and if someone is not experienced, they might not be able to push you to that level, right? If I am this level, I can take you guys to this level. But if I am myself on this level, how can I push you guys to this level, right? So research on that beforehand itself. Don't just in a hurry, don't just join and research on that. And if you find something interesting, that some content what they're talking about, it makes sense, that you relate to that, and you like that way of communication and all that, then definitely contact all this. Like if you actually like what this thing what we have on our Instagram and YouTube and all this thing, then directly contact, right? Like you guys all have the contact and all this thing. So that thing is there, because referral part is like, it's very important, because a lot of people are like, we'll teach you animation, but what then, right? Because why are you guys even here, right? Why are you guys even in the field? Because you are interested in animation. One thing is learning animation, how it is done, but you want to, the biggest question I feel everyone has is like, can you make this as a career, right? It's just anyone relates to that, like anyone, like just press like one and like we'll know. Anyone has that kind of question? I mean, I feel that is like the, is it like cool, and because it sounds cool, and is it, yeah, like Jo567 Instagram, okay, yes. And what is it, Vishnu SR94, okay, yes. And so that is a big question, right? Like, can you guys make this as a career? So let's jump. Referral, we have covered referral. So here at AID, I'll just talk about this thing, since faculties have been in like all these things and all these areas, all these studios, and they have this thing. And even like management help with that. Once you create, don't mistake it with like, if you are really a bad animator, someone will help you out and they'll save you. That won't happen. You have to put in your effort, time and energy into that. But same thing which you will be putting in any of the other career, you have to put in here also. The only difference is you will feel when you are putting in your effort, at the end of the day you will have something cool to show and upload somewhere and this thing, right? Even our students, they keep on uploading here, and if you see, if you go back, Inktober happens, a lot of drawings, and all this is students, right? So it just all that thing is there. So if you see all these things, so yeah, in the end of the day you'll have something cool also. And I hope that answers this thing. And any so let's talk about job options. I'll take one from the past, then we'll switch back to the YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. We'll take one from you guys. We'll take one this thing, which is a big question a lot of people ask a lot of time: job opportunities, job options, being an animator. Let's say you are into a institute, you are learning this thing. Some of you guys are already into different institutes, and some of you are already learning and all this thing. And so let's take up this question and let's answer this question. Job opportunities option. Once you are done with this thing, once you are either learning or you have already completed your course and now you are looking forward to what you can do, either you can join studio. Now studio can be of different types. Studio can be of a game studio, a studio can be of a studio that works on, you guys can, it's very easy to study. Like if you actually know a name of the studio, just go put in Google, put like projects they are working on, so you can see their projects. You can go on YouTube and all this, right? So if you now you want to be in a bigger studio, or you want to be more in a smaller studio, or you want to be a journalist, you want to do more of games, it's up to you. Either a studio, or do you want to do freelance projects, do you want to be on your own and you want to do this thing, right? But right, so choose this what you want to do, and then approach them, give a studio test. There is a studio test before doing this thing, so that opportunity is there. Freelance opportunity is there. You can take up outsourcing a lot of projects from outside. You can take up those kind of projects. You can be in studios, you can do all that. But now let's lead to the next one. What is the process of getting into a studio? Once an institute is there, institute, you have learned in an institute, and most probably I hope, like, who are in institute and this thing, everyone, you guys are having good faculties and they're helping you. They'll help you make your showreel for what you want to focus on. That showreel you use to apply to a studio, and then you give a studio test. There is a small studio test, like they'll give you 6 seconds of, if you are in animation, then they'll give you a 6 seconds of this test, and which you have to give back in 1 day or 2 days time, depends on studio to studio. They'll give you that test. That test would be very related to the projects that studio is working on, right? So research of the studio, and then just understand that what kind of expectations they have, right? So that thing will be there. They'll give you the test and you qualify the test. And as I mentioned earlier, the referrals will help in getting you inside the studio. And yes, so you give the test, then you are inside, then they'll give you a small training of like 1 month or so. They'll hire you as an intern, they might hire you as a junior, they might hire you just as a mid-level. Starting is tough, but if you have referrals, if like some institute you have joined which is like referring you, or someone feel your work is good, or your showreel you have proved like it is really good, something you are doing, then they'll obviously, your chances goes higher in that way. I hope that makes sense, right? So okay. So any other questions you guys have over YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram related to animation? Any other question? I'll just check if I missed on any. How much experience is needed to get fresher job in gaming for modeling, rigging, etc.? Getting a job does not need experience, because getting, see, that is the first thing. I'll see like who posted this thing. 1 second. Nishit Shetty 9. Okay. So getting a job, getting inside a studio is the tough, right? Any scope for 2D animation in India? I know, like, you are asking for the second time. I'll just answer after this thing. And on general note, what is the future of? I'll answer all that. Just hold on and repeat the. So getting a job as a rigging or this thing, it's not tough. It's just see, understand one thing. You have to prove yourself, right? I mean, if you have your own studio, let's talk about that point. Like, if you have your own studio and you have some cool projects, and who will you hire? A person that shows capability, that they are able to create something similar what projects you have on ground in your studio, right? If you have your own studio, let's take one name. uh, let's take Ria Ghosh. Okay, Ria. Like, let's say like Ria has a studio, and then she opens up a studio and she has some like 2D projects, and since you are interested in 2D, she has some like 2D animation and this projects where she's like a director of that thing, and now she wants to hire some people for her project, right? Whom she will hire? She will hire a person who has no idea about 2D, or because now she has to pay also, right? Hiring means like it's not a just a student thing, it's you have to pay them as an internship. You'll pay less, junior, senior, mid-level, right? You will pay them uh, right, all that also is there. And we'll go back, it shows a timer on Instagram live of 18 second. We'll go back live again. I do not know what's the limit of this thing, but we'll go back, we'll do the live again. So refresh this, and we'll answer all these questions. Just refresh after 8 seconds, it might automatically turn down, I don't know, but we will, I'll just press hit, I'll hit like this again. So yes, but share to IGTV. One second. Next. Uh, okay. One second. Let me just post this. We'll go live again on the AD page, so we do not miss out on the questions. One second. Hold on a second. Okay, we are live back, and let's check with where we left off. You are now live. We are live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We are back live. I hope everyone will join back. But let's continue where we left off. So 2D, there was a question about 2D. There was a job about entry job. So entry job is possible because yes, welcome back, everyone. And it had some time, I think. But good to have you all back on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So there was this thing, entry thing, right? Like entry in anything. So who will she hire? She will see what project she has on board, and then she will see who has the equivalent skill to match to that level, right? But when you see, because see, your job gets easier. So now reverse engineer that and check out the studios that you want to apply for, big studio, small studio, what studio is working on, and then just make your portfolio towards like that, and then apply. Don't just apply with same portfolio everywhere. Don't do this thing. A lot of people do this thing, apply everywhere, someone will get you. No, don't do that. Like when I was joining, I had like 5 studios names in front of me, and I was like, okay, first studio, this thing, I'll apply for first studio, I'll see. And then I mean, I got into the first studio itself, so it was not like that thing. But I had like backup. Okay, for if I do not get into this, then I would be like this, right? So I hope that answers your question. It's just so make sure where you are applying, and then put your portfolio like that, and then just apply there. There's a chances increases drastically. It can be rigging, it can be background design, it can be animation, it can be 2D, it can be 3D. But where you are applying, just have that goal and work towards that, and then just apply. VFX. Okay, VFX. Someone just said VFX. What is the question here? Some just phrase it in a question, we'll be able to answer. But until someone else ask some question, everyone is just joining. And let's take some question that I have from earlier. Big studios versus small studios. Then let's talk about, after that, we'll take like Indian studios versus foreign studios. Big studios versus small studios versus big studios. One second. So let's talk about 2D and 3D animation. One person wants to know about Vishnu SR94. Yes, 2D. 2D also we'll talk about, because see, everything started from 2D, right? Everything. So how about programming done in games? Yes, programming. We have a programming course also. We have a very good faculty for programming also here. You might see some webinar. Just keep an eye on the mail and all this thing. You might see a webinar soon from him also. So very interesting. And I mean, we also learn from each other. Like I'm a specific 3D animator, so I have done this thing. I mean, I can make dragons fly while they're talking and they're acting, right? Their expression, I'm like specific like this thing. And so yes, so let's talk about studios versus, yes, Nitika Shah. Yes, small studio. So see, small studios, big studios. If you are a new person, you join in a small studio, it is very easy to stand out. If you do Yeah, I guess, yeah, Sumit, yes, I got your message and we'll do that. Yes, small studios versus big studios. And let's talk about, if you're just joining in, right? And you are thinking of like what studios to apply for and this thing, both has, thanks, Ajay, webinar is interesting. Thank you. And I hope it is, anyone else feel it is interesting? Oh, some. Okay, nice, nice. Yeah, lot of questions. I know, like lot of this thing. But we'll answer all the questions. We'll keep it going until you guys end up with the questions, right? So we'll see. But small studios versus big studios. So there are positives and negatives. Yes, very interesting. Thanks, Riya Ghosh. And yes, yes. Okay, okay, okay. Fine, 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 fine. Complete your sentences. Yes, yes. Let me complete. Yeah. So I'll just keep it. I won't read the chat now until I'm done with this. So, smaller studios, bigger studios. Smaller studios, if you are a new animator, you want to, it's very easy to step up in a smaller studios. It's very easy to choose your shots. Because when you become an animator, when you get a project, it is, there are multiple shots. I hope you realize, like, a movie has some boring shots, some interesting shots. So if you prove yourself, right, you get more of interesting shots. If you prove you are able to do the complex shot, if you break down a movie into like a small section, right, small scene, small sequence, if you break it down into small this thing, then you see if there is a fight sequence and there is a guy walking, right, a guy walks into a door, then he sees the another guy, they have a fight, like verbal fight, they start punching each other. If that is the scene, so let's break it down to junior, mid-level, senior. Junior will be doing the walking in, opening the gate, and this thing. A senior will be doing when two people are like full on like fighting. One person picks up one person and throws another person, right? That would be done by senior. So when you are in a smaller studio, you are a junior, you prove your skills that you can handle the complicated shots. You will be assigned the complicated shots sooner. But if you are in a bigger studio, it takes time. Bigger studio has a bigger structure. I'm not saying it is bad, and bigger studios have a lot of positive. I will state that also after this. But smaller studios, bigger studios, smaller studios, it is easy to stand out, right? Because if you show a good shot, everyone notices that, because there's a daily process and everyone notices who is working on what shot on a every day, who submitted what shot every day. Like for 30 minutes we used to see everyone shot, we would sit together, we'll see everyone shot. It's a small team, right? 20 animator, 40 animator, we are easily able to see each other, we know each other, we become friends, we have like a big unity, and then we party, we hang out and all this thing, right? So all this thing in a smaller studio, that thing is easier. But in a bigger studio, it's not bad or this thing, but it's 1,000 people, right? So in 1,000 people, just to stand out, and it just they'll call you mid-level artist or a senior artist when you have completed 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, right? So there's no, you cannot just put your extra efforts, and you cannot just cut short that period. So I feel that is the biggest difference that I have seen. And other than that, I would say bigger studios have a lot of good things also, that uh, hard to join fresher for studio. I will answer all that, but let me finish this one first. Bigger studios. So bigger studios might have like some big projects. They might be having like lot of big directors. That is one positive about big studios. They might have visits from a lot of big directors. They might offer you big trainings, right? They might offer you trainings for everyone, like, and you'll get like a lot of facilities, extra facilities also in bigger studios. Smaller studios, but I feel smaller studios, you also, there is a chance to learn a lot more, because it's a small studio and you get hands on this, and you might be like a little bit stressful also, but I feel more stress, more you learn. And all type of this thing is that is answered. Let me see. Why is it hard for a fresher to join studios? There's another question, interesting question over here. And it is hard for a fresher. First thing is like freshers, like most of the people coming out of institutes, they are not. I feel there was a big disconnect when I was in studio, and I was also in a part of, like, we were seeing all the people who were applying to the studio. And to answer that question, why it's hard for a fresher, they don't have, they lack good animation understanding. See, don't see, you guys are student, don't see as studios as they are not hiring us, they are not replying to us, because I've been in both roles. I've been here as a faculty also, and I've seen interacted with a lot of students, coached, guided a lot of students, been helped in curriculum formation, revision, all this thing. And I've been in a position in studio also where we were deciding whom to hire next. So there is a big disconnect between, it's not like jobs are not there, but you are not ready for the job. That is the truth of that. So if you train yourself or you join an institute who can actually help you out in reaching that potential of what is missing, right? Once you bridge that gap, because they require some people, and you have this skill, they require this skill, because why would they hire you and pay you, right, when you are not trained enough? That is why it becomes like this gap is there, where they cannot directly hire you, because then either you upscale yourself, you upgrade your skills, and then they hire you. They cannot downgrade, right? They have to pay. I mean, understand that, like, they have a lot of bills to pay. So they would prefer to hire a person. It's not hard. Maybe it is hard for one person, maybe it is hard for 100 people, but there are a lot of people getting hired left and right. स्टूडियोज में इनकम बहुत कम लेते हैं फ्रेशर्स से. यू मीन टू से, आई सपोज, इन इंग्लिश इफ आई ट्रांसलेट, there is a they pay less to freshers. I have seen cases. I have seen. I'll tell from my experience. I have seen people who are getting paid very less. I have seen some studios who are freshers. I will tell one story of this very interesting guy, 19-year-old guy we hired. This will also answer you guys. Like, some of you asked, like, you are too young to join the studio in this, right? This will answer you guys also. This guy, like, he came in and then he was so passionate, so damn passionate, and like he came in and he's learning day and night. He's learning something new, technical. I mean, his job was animator, but he learned all the shortcuts and scripting. He got into that, and then he's making our workflow faster and all this thing, right? I mean, he's a fresher, he's an intern, and he's always finding ways how I can make studio better, right? How I can make the production faster. How I can, because sometimes you guys should understand there's a, like, high-end servers are there in studios, and Maya and high-end softwares, right? We are like working day and night on this thing, and sometimes it gets a bit tiring. It's like some, because deadline is Saturday, and then on Friday night you are sitting, you are working. So then what happens is, like, this guy, 19 years young and 10 years younger than us, he came come in, and then he's just, so the script, you can recover your file easily like this, and all this, right? Like, how you can fix SF easily, the scene finalization, how this thing. We were blown out. We were like, okay, thank you. And whenever our file would crash, we will just call, hey, like, can you, yes. So that is like, it leads back to the point where I mentioned, like, in this industry, it's not like age. Someone mentioned they're 20, they're 2 year old. No, because this guy was younger, and we don't feel the ego thing, right? Because we're like, hey, because we know this guy can make our life easier. If I will sit on there, I can figure out. But for me, if it is taking 1 hour, and this guy come and he'll run some script, and my file is recovered in 10 minutes, I save 50 minutes. Now, if this person is helping so many people save 50 minutes, he's really putting a lot of value in the studio. Why would they keep him as intern? Why would they pay him less, right? Because he's a valuable person. Anyone will hire him. And another thing is, once you prove yourself for a studio, you will be hired anywhere, because it's not like 5 minutes. Okay, so we have to wrap in 5 minutes, and so it won't be. Uh, yeah, so it depends on, like, how much value you guys are providing. Anyone has, like, any, like, question that you guys have to ask? We have to wrap up in 5 minutes, and if someone's question was not answered, 2D versus 3D, someone asked question, I'll just answer that one also. 2D versus 3D. 2D is like, 2D is also there, 3D is also there, but mostly the outsourcing project that we have seen is mostly focused towards 3D, more interactive. Even now, mocap will come in, and all this will come in. And let's take some good questions for ending. You guys have any questions? Instagram, Facebook, or the future of 2D? Future of 2D is like, it might come back, they say, but I do not see, to say the truth, do not see, like, comparatively I'm seeing, because competition is there, like, we have to take care of competition, like 3D and 2D, because there was this time when everyone switched from 2D to 3D, because 2D, the thing is that 2D takes too much time, right? Like, it just take too much time to do that, and it's like you need, like, to sketch, and it's very time consuming, I feel. Sir, I'm a beginner, please guide me. Yes, so join, like, check out different webinars, keep an eye on all this, and see all this, like learn from. You have a lot of free resources been posting, AID has been posting. So I'll just end up mocap also used in animation. Yes, not in movies mostly, it's used mostly in, that is the last question we'll take. We'll talk about a little bit about what we do here and a little bit about this thing, and we'll end up with this thing. You might get a follow-up mail, and you guys can reach out and feedback and all this thing, whatever you guys want, right? And mocap is used in games sometimes, but mocap is not a replacement for animation. You guys should understand that mocap is its own limitations for that. It's not a replacement, it's a addition to the animation. Something makes your life easier, why not, right? If you are releasing one movie in 2 years, why not release two movies in 2 years, right? It's an add-on. So always be open to new platforms and always be open to learning, I would say, in the end. Now, always be curious, always be learning. Just ending with this, I'm a 3D model in my. Is there any? For further question, you guys can mail to this ID. You can post in the Instagram messages. Facebook is there. YouTube is there. You guys can reach out. You guys can mail. Mail ID will just. I'll just. What's the mail ID? Yeah, they can mail. Info at Asian Institute of Design. Info at Asian Institute of Design.in. You guys can mail or any of your questions. I'll be happy to answer all that. Yes, glad you guys like this thing, and we'll keep doing further this thing. Follow the page and go check out Facebook, Instagram, and lot of resources are there, YouTube, and just check out all these resources. Multiple resources are there for free. Whoever is interested, the good thing is we are going online now. Online courses will be there. Does not matter you are in Mumbai, you are in hometown. You don't have to travel. You don't have to do all that, and you guys can, from your comfort of your home, you guys can just tune in and this thing. And there are like other faculties will be doing more of these things soon. I hope that answers everything. And we have multiple courses over here. We are into animation, gaming, diploma courses, degree courses. We have repeat the mail ID. Info at Asian Institute of Design.in. It's info at Asian Institute of Design.in. Or you message on your this Facebook, whoever is on Facebook or YouTube. Just check out Instagram or just mail. You guys prefer mailing. Instagram are on all platforms. So yes, nice that you guys joined in, and we'll do more of this thing. JP sir might reach out to you, and he'll give you more details. There'll be like yes, more in future. I hope we'll wrap up. Mail ID is info at Asian Institute of Design.in. I'll just type once. A lot of people are curious. Share to. There's no option of typing here, but I hope you guys request. Uh, is फील्ड में इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग जरूरी है इंग्लिश हिंदी यस लाइक इट्स बेटर टू लाइक लर्न लिटिल बिट आउटसोर्सिंग का होता है ना थोड़ा बहुत तो इट्स थोड़ा अच्छा रहता है बट एनीवेज लेट्स आई एम एंडिंग द फीड एंड so yes that's it and good to have you guys and just wrap this up yes welcome and we'll have more of this keep an eye on this okay sir we'll end on this thing Instagram are you sure video पहले वाला एक बीच में टाइमर था तो आई शेयर्ड इट ऑन IGTV we'll end on our Facebook this thing also and our YouTube also and thanks for joining in and yes so we'll just finish yes thanks for joining in and we'll keep you guys updated just it is this info at Asian Institute of Design and we are ending on YouTube. We were live on three Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I already have some questions, so I will start with those questions. And once